Aliens, aliens, aliens. Everybody's talking about aliens. Everybody's freaking out about aliens. I'm not talking about Venezuelans crossing the border, but I'm talking about intergalactic beings coming to visit. Wow. So, for those of you who are end times eschatology freaks, like this is a good day for you. You finally have something to talk about. So, let me give you just a quick riff on aliens. First of all, we do know that there is life beyond human life because God created angels who sinned and some became demons. So we do know that there is life beyond human life. We know this for a fact. The Bible says, in fact, that there are three primary angelic divine beings that rule and reign. It's Michael, Gabriel, and Lucifer. Those are the only three named angels in the Bible. Angels appear in 90% of the books of the Bible. They appear more than 300 times. They have different names. They're called angels. They're called the sons of God, the watchers, the holy ones. The divine council is where they tend to meet in God's presence. And so these are divine beings. And so since only three are named, those are probably the highest ranking, think in terms of like military category. So when Satan fought against God in heaven, Revelation 12:7-9, that ultimately it was the angels who fought back. God didn't directly engage because he's so far superior, he doesn't need to. Then Satan lost his war against God, and Jesus says that a third of the heavenly host were cast down from heaven with him. That would make sense because with three named leaders, if a third was cast down, those would be the angels who became demons and they declared war on God. So we know that in addition to human beings, there are other beings that are created beings, and those are angels, some of whom fell and became demons. What we see then is that Satan shows up right away in Genesis 3, and he comes to tempt and to ultimately overtake Adam and Eve and set himself up through their sin as, quote, the God of this world. Now, what we see in the rest of the storyline of the Bible is that the focus of the Bible is primarily, if not exclusively, on human life. Some are saying that, that there's this information that is going to come out because there was, some meeting with government officials and some VRBO. Anytime you get government officials, VRBO, and aliens, it's true. I mean, those kind of data points, how could you possibly argue? Everybody knows that government officials only tell the truth when they're in VRBOs, especially when it regards aliens. I digress. Nonetheless, what we see in the Bible is it says God created the heavens and the earth, right? And then immediately, if you're looking at the storyline of Genesis, it starts with this sort of universal panoramic picture of all of creation, and then it very quickly narrows. It would be like a cinematic event where the camera focuses in on a place and a people, Adam and Eve in the garden. And so it goes from a cosmic to a very specific emphasis and focus. So the Bible doesn't tell us about other planets, other beings, other created beings other than human beings and angelic divine beings, some of which become demonic fallen beings. It just doesn't say anything. An argument from silence, for those of you who know logic, rhetoric, and debate, it's not an argument at all. The Bible just doesn't say anything. It doesn't say anything about other planets because it focuses on this planet. It doesn't talk about other beings because it's focused on human and divine beings. So those who are saying, this is going to undermine people's credibility in the Bible, it doesn't have to, because the Bible isn't talking about other times and places and people and things. It's a very narrow focus to the earth, to the Garden of Eden, to Adam and Eve, and to the first temptation. That becomes the focus. So, does the Bible negate the possibility of other realities, other worlds, other beings? It doesn't. It doesn't say anything. It's silent. Because Jesus didn't come in the image and likeness of any other being than a human being. He didn't die and rise in the place of any other being, just a human being. So the focus of the Bible is on humanity and the coming of Jesus Christ as a man to save humanity. That being said, there are times in the Bible when demonic beings and divine beings that are not fallen and angels, they appear like human beings. This is where in Hebrews it says that some of you have entertained angels unaware because they showed up like human beings. For example, there is a day when Abraham is visited by people that he thinks are human beings because that's how they appear, and then they disappear. They were divine beings, they were angels on assignment. There are times as well that a demonic being can appear as a person. And there are times in the Bible when there is an indication, perhaps an intimation, that divine beings are trying to procreate and to create some sort of hybrid race with human beings. So now we're into, so for you tinfoil hat people that have your medical marijuana card and, have accepted the rapture in your heart and you have read the Left Behind series so many times that you've memorized it, this is going to be fun for you. We're going to talk about the Nephilim. So the Nephilim is this occasion where it talks about that the sons of God tried to intermarry and procreate with the daughters of men. Okay? Well, the sons of God in the Bible are usually a reference to divine beings. I think it's in Job 38. It says that the sons of God were present at creation. And so when human beings were created, the sons of God, divine angelic beings, were present and they were cheering and celebrating God's created work. So the sons of God in the Bible, they're divine beings. So it says that the sons of God tried to intermarry and to procreate with the daughters of men. The daughters of men are human beings. So the sons of God are divine beings. The daughters of men are human beings. So some would say that this is an attempt to create a hybrid, half demonic, half human line, which would be a counterfeit of Jesus Christ, who's fully God and fully man. See how this works? And so in the story of the Bible, which is true, God the Father is the father of Jesus. And then Jesus, who is eternally God, he enters into human history through the womb of his earthly mother, Mary. Jesus does not have a biological father. Joseph is his adoptive father. Jesus does have a biological mother, that is Mary. And so what God creates, Satan counterfeits. And so this could be, there in Genesis, the Nephilim could be an attempt at a counterfeit of the incarnation, the divine beings, the sons of God, having offspring with human beings, the daughters of men, which would be fully demonic and fully human, which would be a counterfeit of Christ, who is fully God and fully man. Could be. This is possible. And you can't make the absolute slam dunk evidentiary conclusion, but it is possible. If that is the case, then is there some sort of race that is sort of a hybrid and superhuman? Well, then there is a flood that comes, and it seems like everybody except for Noah and his family, if that race did exist, that they were destroyed in the flood. Again, this concept of the Nephilim, if memory serves me correct, they appear again, I think, in the book of Numbers. It mentions the same name, but it is not the same people group. It is a different people group, in my opinion. All that to say, where are we at with aliens? Well, they could be demonic counterfeits appearing as human beings. That's what Vice President J.D. Vance said. He said, I think aliens actually are probably demons. I'm paraphrasing him, of course. So when you see ships or transportation vehicles that are defying the laws of gravity that we know in our universe, is that a being from another galaxy or another realm or reality? Is that an extraterrestrial being or is that a demonic being? We don't know. We don't know. What we do know is that Satan always wants us to redirect our attention and focus from our creator to anyone or anything else. This is where it says in Romans that paganism or idolatry is they worshiped and served created things rather than the creator God. So whether it's a demon posing as a human being, whether it is some sort of weird supernatural offspring, counterfeit, half demon, half human, super race, I don't know. The focus and goal would be whatever it is, just to not focus on creator, but focus on creation. And Romans 1 says that is the beginning of all idolatry. And so my encouragement is number one, wait for the facts and evidence. Number two, don't dismiss and overlook the possible demonic deception that could cause people to become enamored with beings and realms other than God and heaven. And in addition, the Bible doesn't say anything, quite frankly, about other galaxies and other beings. As I said, it focuses very narrowly. Lastly, don't take obscure parts of the Bible and build really hardened doctrines on them. There's a doctrine called perspicuity when it comes to Bible interpretation, and that is that the more clear text, they interpret the less clear text. So if you go to Ezekiel, you're like, there's a wheel within a wheel. Well, that is a less clear text. The texts that are clear are that there is one God and that he is the creator of everyone and everything, and that Jesus Christ came only in the image and likeness of a human being, and that Jesus Christ is fully God, fully man, that he lived without sin, that he died on the cross in our place for our sins, that he rose to conquer Satan, sin, death, hell, the wrath of God, that he ascended into heaven, that right now he is seated on a throne, ruling and reigning as King of kings and Lord of lords over everyone and everything that is created, whatever and wherever that might be, and that he's coming again to judge the living and the dead, and he will establish a kingdom that has no opponents, and he will rule and reign with triumphant victory forever and ever. That's what we know for sure. Everything else is interesting speculation, but don't let it distract you from who Jesus is and what Jesus does. Thank you very much for watching. And if you do me a solid, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll get you lots more Bible teaching content.